Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton, and today's album is probably one of the greatest heavy metal albums ever recorded, Metallica's Master of Puppets, released on March 3rd, 1986. This was their third album, and dare I say it, it was their breakthrough album. This is the album that I think put Metallica over the top as a serious heavy metal band. I've always maintained that this album was the album, or you can put this in a time capsule and write heavy metal on it. And I think the aliens would get a very good idea, not a time capsule, but a space capsule, send it up into space. And I think the aliens would get a very good idea of what metal music is about. And particularly metal music, or even thrash metal music of the 80s. Fast, furious, intricate arrangements. It's all on here. Now, this was recorded with producer Flemming Rasmussen, who worked with them, I believe, on Ride the Lightning, so it was a continuation. But it was the last album to feature bassist Cliff Burton, who was killed tragically in a bus accident while the band was on tour. And so this was the last album. But this album was really interesting because at the time when it was released, they pretty much built their... I mean, Metallica is one of the biggest bands in the world now. But this album was the breakthrough for them because this album succeeded almost in spite of itself. No singles or radio airplay. The band didn't do music videos. So this album really succeeded on word of mouth. It reached the top 40 on the Billboard, actually the top 30 on the Billboard 200. And it became the first heavy metal album to be certified platinum. And so it's gone on to sell bajillions of copies because Metallica is just a huge name. And this album is, considered to be their landmark, and rightfully so. So, I mean, the band got its start, as a San Francisco Bay band, recorded Kill 'Em All, which is just a fast, furious, aggressive album. And the album talks about all the hallmarks, death and destruction and those things. And then Ride the Lightning came out, and it sort of built upon it. It extended what was going on with the genre. The songwriting got a little more sophisticated. The production was a little better. And then, of course, the band ended up with Elektra Records, who originally released this album. Now, mine is the recent reissue that came out on the band's own label, mastered by the excellent Chris Bellman, who did this release. And so the album sounds as good as it ever did. So they went into Denmark with Flemming to record this in the late 80s and late 85, and pretty much had all the songs written and went in and laid it down. Now this features a lot of range. The arrangements are really thick. But Cliff Burton is a bass player, and I want to talk about him and what he contributed to the band, because I think Cliff Burton was a fan of bands like Thin Lizzy and bands like that had a lot of harmony. And I think the thing about a lot of metal music, it was all about the precision and the attack. But Cliff's bass playing in particular featured, he would go, it was very harmonic, and he would play sometimes, he was a melodic bass player in a heavy metal band. So it wasn't always just about the attack or the precision of it. So I think that's what kind of set this album apart. And so there was a lot of, and there's the epic sort of things like songs like Orion, which is just an epic sort of thing. But you've got, the title track, Master of Puppets, which I'm assuming is about drug abuse. And you also have a song like Battery, which kicks the album off, which is just a furious, fast, up-tempo number. Where the band just, shows their chops. They played with an intensity that was unmatched. There were other bands around this time. Megadeth, also featuring Dave Mustaine, who started in Metallica. But Metallica wore this influence of metal music. Bands like Judas Priest, Killing Joke, those early wave of British metal. And they took it to a new level with their own spin on it. and just threw out some incredible music in the 80s, and it cemented them as sort of the premier heavy band of all time. And like I said, I'm inclined to agree. What do you think? Comment down below. Metallica's Master of Puppets, today's daily record. Like, comment, subscribe, share, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's Tommy Burton75. Check out the other channel, Tommy Burton's VC channel, where I go into more depth. But in the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another daily record.